Well, Nigeria2015 studios is still on here on Channels Television. A quick reminder here that for our UK viewers, if you're watching us on our m.channelstv.com platform, you can also watch us live on Sky Channels 575. That's Channels 24 in the UK, live on Sky Channels 575. And of course, you can also follow us on these Twitter handles that will be popping up on your screen. Send in your messages, comments, and views. Let us in on what exactly is happening in your state, in your locality. By the way, a quick reminder here, in 36 states of the Federation, we have just 29 states that will be going for the governorship elections. And of course, in that, 10 of them are the incumbents seeking re-election in those states. And we also shared with you before the break the flashpoints released by the NHRC leading up to this particular election. About 8 of them: Abia, Benue, Kaduna, Bauchi, Ekiti, Lagos, Imo, as well as Rivers. And these are some of the places they did say were security agencies as well as the electorates, and everyone from those places must keep their eyes open, keep watch, close watch, according to the NHRC, and see how well we can avert trouble and stay on the line of peace. We're talking about peace. We still have with us Professor Oshita Oshita, who is the Director General of the Institute of Peace, right there in our Abuja studios. Very much quickly, we'll be going to him and continue our discussions with him as soon as he is set. And of course, right here live in the studios, retired Captain Umar Aliyu. He's still very much with us, and Dr. Chiman Naji is still right here. And we were trying to look at some states that have been penciled down for close watch leading up to this particular election. Wherever you are at the moment, it's Nigeria 2015. And starting off, we started by looking at Rivers State. But looking at other states, let's come back to where we're based now. We're talking about Lagos State. Why would Lagos be on this particular NHRC list, Captain Aliyu?
Lagos State is one state that is to Nigerians like, let me say, a jugular. Security-wise, economically, socially, Lagos State is a melting point. You know, it's a melting pot. And don't forget, it once upon a time used to be our FCT. So there's hardly any Nigerian who doesn't have something to do with Lagos. And when it comes to elections and the security, you discover that what happens to Lagos is important, just as what happens any other place is important. Lagos is key because if you look at the population figures in Lagos, you discover that it cuts across all Nigeria. Lagos is virtually a small microcosm of Nigeria. And from the security perspective, we need to see a balance of peace and security in Lagos, because I earlier mentioned what you call ethnic behavior in our elections or in our electoral processes. Now, if people in Lagos State have a security challenge, whether there is an election in another state or not, troublemakers can jump on that bus and exploit it to read all manner of meaning to what is happening in Lagos. Because somehow we have become acculturated to Lagos being what you can call a center of activity. Lagos is always much more in our social news than any other states you can think of in this country. So elections coming, we need a balance in Lagos. It's key.
Well, perhaps you listen to him, yes. You agree with him.
Well, maybe I should also add here that Lagos State is a battleground, a very strong battleground, because like I did allude to a cup, and everybody wants that cup as a prized item, and who takes the cup keeps it. So that means statistically they are mutually exclusive. If you take it, the other one loses it. And each of those contending forces want to prove a point too. The one that is holding close to the cup wants to retain the cup. The other one that is thirsty of water needs the cup to leverage him, get some water. And the other one will not let go. So all forms of tactics, strategies have been deployed in the penultimate days, to this election. We won't need to say so much, except that the forces are formidable. They are very formidable. The only thing is that the energies should be properly channeled so that they do not burst to the point of escalating into violence.
Would you say that the campaigns in Lagos have been issues-based so far? Or would you say that there's been plenty of mudslinging? Because some people say that those are factors that...
Towards the end of the day, you know, so let me just say within this week, the tone and texture changed. From mudslinging to perhaps addressing some issues through some passionate appeals, reiterating what had been done or what could be done on the two sides. But it was not so in the previous weeks. Let me just put it that way. But most of the effort, when it was realized from the presidential election that the voters count, I don't know whether you get the point. The tone changed. Okay? Like we have always said, this election, Nigeria has now been, Nigerian electorate have been empowered now. So much so that they are the bride everybody must cut. So, with this awareness, it's going to trickle down even in the primaries going forward of political parties to throw up the best candidates they can afford to, so that in a marketing contest, the one that has the best product with higher quality and well priced will win the consumer.
Some people talk about Lagos being the jewel in the crown for political parties. Do you agree?
Well, yes, I do. Because if you look at the sheer volume of activity that goes on in Lagos State, you discover that Lagos is indeed an asset, not only to the parties, but to the country. Lagos is a gateway. Lagos is a commercial hub. Lagos is a social hub. And politically too, Lagos is a hub. And anybody who has Lagos, whether politically, economically, or otherwise, actually has what I can call a leverage. As we speak, the contenders to these particular elections know what Lagos will do to them if they have it, and what it will not do to them if they have it. Let me give you an example of how resilient or how lucrative Lagos is. Once upon a time, we knew Lagos State was run ex-federation account. Lagos State virtually ran itself because they were cut off monthly allocation. And they did so on their own accord and still stood head and shoulders above that were receiving allocations. That is an indication of what Lagos means, whether economically, commercially, or politically. So Lagos is really a jewel in the crown, yes.
But if there's anywhere we saw voters being vibrant, if there's anywhere we saw voters standing guard, it was in Lagos we had the people voted way into the night. People were using headlamps and what have you. People purchased generators to ensure that their votes counted, at least at the polling units. They don't know what happened at the collation centers, but from what they could see, you know, things happen properly at the polling centers. Do you see that, you know, mitigating the violence that people could expect to happen in a place like Lagos? You also have to factor in the numbers of expected voters at the polling units as well.
Yes, I do see that counting. And in other states, people actually voted with resolve too, just like in Lagos. But I'll tell you something, if the body language, as I said earlier, of voters during the presidential elections is anything to go by, then people who think they're going to come out and cause problems or hitches here and there have a very, very tall order. And don't forget, the law enforcement are leveraging that resolve to vote peacefully by keeping an eye out for all these flashpoints we are expecting to see. So anybody who is thinking about bringing in some people to come and foment problems is not going to find it easy at all. In fact, I am looking to see, starting tomorrow, a situation where troublemakers will stand out like a sore thumb. They also become an opportunity for our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to get them, just like the 140 they already have with the police, and backtrack through investigations with them so we can begin to know who their sponsors are, and probably even blacklist them politically.
Well, police, while we talk about policing them politically, let's quickly bring in someone who's actually seen some form of elections in other parts of the continent. Ambassador Sulaiman Dahiru is the former envoy to the Sudan. Good morning and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, anyway, very quickly, this is the moment that will wrap up the elections in Nigeria for What do you think we should be looking up to in states where 29 of them will be having governorship elections?
I think so far the election has been quite okay, even though with flashes of trouble here and there. But generally speaking, the elections have been quite good, and that has been a credit to Nigeria.
That is the committee down flashpoints for us to watch out for leading up to this particular election. States like Rivers, states like Lagos, states like Abia, and others. So what do you think we should be doing if you were to look at them from the security man's perspective, someone who's an envoy? What do you think we should look to avert any kind of trouble since they've been spotted out?
First of all, I think it is just unfortunate that become a affair. Otherwise, there should be no reason, absolutely no reason, for us to have flashpoints. And this is because of the kind of elections we have been having, or the type of politicians that we have. Politicians have taken politics as a do-or-die affair, and they are ready to sponsor people to kill and maim in order to get what they want. So those flashpoints, I can say it is failure of politics by the politicians in the years. And the security agencies have a Herculean task to squarely face those problems. And in squarely facing those problems, there should not be any what we call big men who cannot be touched. No. Whoever breaks the law should be dealt with. The law is no respecter of anybody. In fact, your status will be enhanced if you obey the laws, not when you disobey the laws. So it is unfortunate we have those flashpoints in certain places in Nigeria. But I pray that people will come to their senses and make sure that they peacefully go about and do their voting and leave.